I am Ibrahim Traoré, and today I'm pulling off your masks. Yes, you heard correctly. It's been working like this for 100 years, and you don't see this system. You don't want to see it, because you're part of the system too.
Picture a country where even heavy rains can't destroy the roads, where new highways don't drain the national budget, and where local people help shape the infrastructure they actually use. This isn't a far-off dream. It's happening right now in Burkina Faso. Thanks to the bold decisions of Captain Ibrahim Traoré and a game-changing Japanese road-building technique, the nation's crumbling transport network is on the brink of transformation. After years of isolation, poor trade, and hard-to-reach hospitals and schools, Ibrahim Traoré's new road method is about to change Africa forever. Burkina's Road Revolution.
It has been nearly 3 years since Captain Ibrahim Traoré took on the reins of leadership in Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso may be one of the most overlooked nations in West Africa, but a quiet revolution in its infrastructure is now turning heads across the continent. Under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the country has adopted a cutting-edge Japanese road-building method that could redefine transportation not just for Burkina Faso, but for much of Africa. This innovation isn't just about paving roads, it's about transforming access, boosting the economy and restoring unity in a land long fractured by poor connectivity.
Under Traoré's leadership, the economy has strengthened.
Historically, Burkina Faso has struggled with outdated and insufficient road networks. As a landlocked nation surrounded by 6 countries, limited infrastructure meant limited trade, especially for small communities. Many rural towns were virtually isolated, making it difficult to transport goods or receive emergency services. Add to that its history of droughts, poverty, and political instability, and it becomes clear why the road system remained in disrepair for decades. But in 2023, Traoré's government decided to import Japanese Dono Technology, a low-cost, labor-intensive road construction method using soil-filled bags to stabilize weak earth. Originally designed for use in areas prone to flooding or landslides, Dono has proven to be a game-changer in remote and disaster-affected regions in Asia and East Africa. The method's appeal lies in its affordability, sustainability, and ability to involve local communities in the building process, thus creating jobs and ownership at the grassroots level. This move comes at a critical time. Since 2022, Burkina Faso has been battling a jihadist insurgency that has killed over 10,000 people and displaced more than 2 million. These attacks have not only destabilized the country but also destroyed already weak infrastructure. In response, the military took over in 2 successive coups, hoping to restore order and rebuild the nation.
In this world, Africa will be free, Africa will be strong, Africa will be a leader.
International fallout followed. The African Union and ECOWAS suspended Burkina Faso. France, once its colonial overseer and security ally, was told to withdraw. In a strategic pivot, the government is now engaging with Russia for military training support, though it denies any involvement with the notorious Wagner Group. The introduction of Japan's Dono road method isn't just a fix for broken roads, it's a symbol of sovereignty. In a country battling insurgency, rebuilding infrastructure is more than development, it's survival. Traoré's initiative signals a shift toward local empowerment, international diversification, and long-term stability. Paving Africa's future.
Burkina Faso's latest bet is on its car shoe industry.
Burkina Faso has long struggled with road infrastructure. Most rural roads are unpaved, and that makes them highly vulnerable to natural elements. Heavy rains turn them into muddy, impassable tracks. In the dry season, thick clouds of dust blind drivers and trigger respiratory issues. These roads are essential for connecting communities to schools, hospitals, and markets. But the harsh climate, combined with limited resources, has made road construction and maintenance a losing battle until now. For years, traditional road materials like asphalt and concrete failed to stand up to Burkina Faso's intense conditions. The extreme heat caused them to crack. Seasonal floods washed them away. Worse, these materials were expensive, and sourcing them placed a financial burden on an already stretched economy. As a result, remote villages often remained isolated, cut off from essential services. Trade suffered. Medical emergencies turned deadly due to delays. Education opportunities remained out of reach for many. But now, a groundbreaking shift is underway. A partnership between the government of Burkina Faso and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, is introducing a game-changing solution, the Dono method. Unlike traditional techniques, this low-cost approach uses bags filled with local soil, compacted tightly, and arranged in layers to form a stable base for roads. This technique is not only far cheaper than conventional materials, but also far more adaptable to the African terrain.
Is a transformation happened in our direct beneficiary, the community people.
What makes Dono stand out is its resilience. It withstands erosion, intense heat, and flash flooding. Even more impressive, it can be implemented by local communities themselves. This boosts employment, empowers villages, and ensures roads are maintained by the very people who use them. The method is already proving effective in Kenya, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now in Burkina Faso, it could mark the beginning of a regional transformation. Roads that used to vanish during the rainy season are now staying firm. Drivers who once risked accidents in dusty or slippery conditions now have safer routes. Children can get to school, mothers can reach clinics, farmers can transport goods, and the country, once constrained by geography, may finally gain the mobility it needs to grow. If this method scales up, it could redefine infrastructure for much of Africa. Dono Technique. In a region where crumbling roads and high construction costs have long been accepted as the norm, Burkina Faso is testing a bold new solution, and it might just change the future of African infrastructure. This game changer is called the Dono Technique, a low-cost road construction method that's drawing attention from engineers, economists, and governments across the continent. Named after Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the Burkina Faso leader backing its nationwide rollout, the Dono system isn't just an experiment, it's a potential blueprint for solving Africa's infrastructure crisis. Unlike conventional roads built with expensive asphalt or imported concrete, the
Dono bags are used for raising embankments to prevent floods, and has been used in Asian countries dating back to the year 2000.
The Dono technique takes advantage of Africa's own natural resources, especially laterite soil. This iron-rich earth is abundant in many African regions, and when compacted using the Dono method, it forms surprisingly durable road surfaces that withstand seasonal extremes better than standard materials. While heavy rains used to turn roads into impassable mud pits and dry seasons would kick up blinding dust storms, the Dono roads reduce both risks, cutting accident rates and improving year-round accessibility. What makes this even more impactful is the backing from international development agencies like Japan's JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. JICA has partnered with the Burkina Faso government to help implement and refine the Dono technique using tested engineering principles, ensuring that the roads are not only affordable but also safe and sustainable.
The Kilimomsingi group applied Dono technology to repair a bridge.
Their joint studies show that these roads cost a fraction of traditional builds while offering improved resilience in Burkina Faso's punishing climate. But there's more to this than just road building. This technique empowers local communities by using local labor and materials, reducing reliance on foreign contractors and boosting the rural economy. Farmers, traders and students, especially in remote regions, are already seeing the benefits. Cheaper transport costs, easier access to markets, and better school attendance rates. This isn't a quick fix or political stunt. It's a long-term investment in Africa's mobility and self-reliance. The Dono technique could be adapted across the Sahel, West Africa and beyond, giving countries a proven method to bypass the corruption-prone, high-budget infrastructure models that have failed them for decades. Africa's Earthbag road breakthrough. Ibrahim Traoré's push to revolutionize Burkina Faso's infrastructure isn't just about building roads, it's about rewriting the rules of construction itself. And at the heart of it lies a quiet but powerful innovation, the Dono technique. Originally developed in Japan, this method flips the conventional road-building model on its head. Instead of importing costly materials like asphalt and concrete, Dono relies on what's already underfoot, literally. The term Dono translates to Earthbag in Japanese, which neatly sums up the core principle.
Dono is a Japanese word that means wrapping soil in a gunny bag.
Using bags filled with compressed earth, typically a mix of laterite soil, gravel, clay and sand, the technique creates a solid and durable foundation. These earth bags are laid down in layers and reinforced with geotextiles, special industrial fabrics that add strength and flexibility. The method even incorporates recycled construction debris to further cut costs and reduce waste. This isn't just smart engineering, it's engineering with purpose. In countries like Burkina Faso, where budgets are tight and logistics are tough, Dono offers a serious advantage. By sourcing materials locally, transportation costs and environmental impact are drastically reduced. That means fewer carbon emissions, less dependency on foreign supply chains, and more opportunities for local labor and businesses. And it's not just theoretical. Roads built using the Dono technique have shown strong resilience in harsh weather and heavy use. What makes this approach even more impressive is its scalability. Whether in rural villages or urban developments, Dono can be adapted to suit different terrains and traffic levels. In Japan, it was first used in flood-prone areas because of its resistance to erosion. In Africa, it offers a way to build affordable roads in remote or neglected regions, where traditional infrastructure has always been a challenge. Traoré's endorsement of the Dono technique isn't just a political move, it reflects a broader shift toward localized, eco-friendly development.
Because these don't fit your scenario, your Africa cannot be successful.
If implemented effectively, this could serve as a model for other African nations. It's a method that values both innovation and tradition, combining age-old earthwork techniques with modern materials science. This isn't just a road project, it's a test of whether sustainable, people-first solutions can take root in a continent too often forced to import its future. Africa's low-cost road brake. In a time when many African nations are struggling with limited infrastructure budgets, one groundbreaking method is quietly revolutionizing rural development, and it's not coming from a high-tech lab. It's a simple yet highly effective method called the Dono or Dono Technique, and it's catching global attention for all the right reasons.
Dono bags are used for raising embankments to prevent floods.
This method, which uses tightly packed sandbags to build and repair roads, is proving to be a game changer, especially in nations like Burkina Faso, where resources are scarce, but the demand for reliable roads is sky high. Unlike conventional asphalt roads that can cost up to $500,000 per kilometer, the Dono technique slashes construction expenses by up to 60%. That's because it relies almost entirely on locally available materials like soil, sand, and jute, or polypropylene sacks. There's no need to import heavy equipment or outsource to foreign contractors. With minimal machinery and hands-on labor, this method is not just affordable, it's empowering. It brings employment to rural communities, offering both income and skill development to semi-skilled workers, many of whom had no previous training in construction. Environmentally, the benefits are just as powerful. Traditional road building often involves extensive deforestation, excavation of gravel and limestone, and heavy use of fossil-fueled machines. The Dono method, however, minimizes environmental degradation by using low-impact materials and sustainable techniques. It also significantly reduces carbon emissions, making it an eco-conscious alternative in regions already vulnerable to climate change. Another key strength of this method is speed. Because the process is straightforward and does not require high-tech machinery, roads can be constructed in a fraction of the time. This rapid rollout means that more remote areas can gain access to transportation links sooner, improving access to education, healthcare, and markets for agriculture, especially critical in post-harvest seasons. But perhaps the most impressive feature is durability. Roads built using the Dono method have shown exceptional resistance to erosion, heavy rainfall, and high temperatures. These roads can last longer with lower maintenance costs, making them a smart investment for any country trying to stretch its budget while still upgrading infrastructure. This is not just a cost-saving innovation, it's a nation-building tool. The Dono technique offers a scalable, sustainable, and empowering path forward for countries like Burkina Faso. Want to see how this low-tech solution could reshape an entire continent? Stick around because this might just be the road to Africa's future. Dono method transforms transport. Burkina Faso is quietly launching a road revolution that could reshape not only its national transport system, but the entire West African region. In February 2025, a groundbreaking training program began under the government's partnership with Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, targeting one goal: to teach local engineers, construction workers, and community leaders how to master the Dono road building technique. Why? Because this method is fast, cost-effective, and remarkably suited for the diverse terrain of the country.
Its strategic partnership with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, Japan's commitment to supporting Nigeria's disaster management aspirations.
The pilot phase kicked off in two key cities, Ouagadougou and Bobo-Dioulasso. These urban hubs are essential for national trade and logistics, making them the perfect testing ground for the Dono method. This Japanese-engineered approach uses locally available materials and a technique of layered soil compaction that's both environmentally friendly and structurally sound. Engineers were taught how to source, layer and compress soil and gravel, a process that doesn't just build roads, it builds long-term skills in communities. But this isn't just about road construction. On February 20th, 2025, at the National School of Public Works in Ouagadougou, a live demonstration brought the entire plan to life. Experts from Japan and Burkina Faso worked together to show a real-time walkthrough of the Dono process.
They really feel confident using the skills they learned, the Dono technology. It's really the first experience for them.
Local officials, students and engineers gathered to witness not just a method, but a movement. This isn't top-down development, it's grassroots transformation. The government is actively involving citizens, especially in rural areas, in both construction and awareness campaigns. Public outreach initiatives explain how the Dono technique works and why it matters, creating a sense of shared ownership over national progress. Rural populations are not just bystanders. They are being equipped with real employment and vocational training that can outlast the project itself. The broader impact? This infrastructure overhaul is part of a larger government strategy to boost road and rail connectivity across the SK-BO, Sikasso-Korhogo-Bobo-Dioulasso corridor. This corridor is being positioned as a basin of integration and stability, a strategic link that will enhance regional trade, address climate challenges, and improve food and nutrition security. As part of this regional vision, Burkina Faso is not only building roads, it's building resilience. The SK-BO project aims to reduce service interruptions, improve logistics, and lift the quality of life for millions. If it succeeds, it might just set the gold standard for how nations across Africa can modernize infrastructure through sustainable, community-driven innovation. The challenges. To take this groundbreaking road-building project nationwide, Burkina Faso faces several critical challenges, but each hurdle reveals just how transformative this method could be.
Our direct beneficiary, the community people, our target beneficiary, they are basically unemployed.
Scaling the Dono technique across various terrains like deserts and highlands requires adaptation, long-term planning, and above all, sustainable investment. These roads are not your standard concrete projects. They rely on local materials, community labor, and a method that reduces environmental damage while significantly cutting costs. But cheaper doesn't mean easier. The technique demands skill. Workers must be trained to apply it properly, which calls for building local capacity fast. From rural engineers to village planners, everyone involved needs to understand the technical process. That's why Captain Ibrahim Traoré's team is prioritizing education and hands-on training in every region they reach. Without this, the technique risks being misunderstood or misapplied, especially in zones with difficult geography. Another hurdle is public trust. Changing how a country builds its roads also means changing how people think about infrastructure. In some places, skepticism runs deep. Many see flashy foreign projects come and go with little local benefit. But the Dono method is rooted in community involvement. That alone makes it radically different. It gives locals both ownership and employment, and that's winning people over, slowly but surely. Now, the government of Burkina Faso is actively pursuing global support. They're in talks with international partners, infrastructure funds, and NGOs to secure the funding and technical collaboration needed to expand the initiative. Experts from countries like Rwanda, Ghana, and even Indonesia have expressed interest in sending observers to learn from Burkina Faso's model. The broader vision here isn't just about road construction. It's about redefining how African nations build their future sustainably, affordably, and locally. Traditional infrastructure models often depend on foreign companies, imported materials, and debt-heavy deals. But this is a self-reliant solution, born in the Sahel, tailored for Africa, and capable of transforming economies from the ground up. Literally, Captain Ibrahim Traoré isn't just building roads. He's laying the foundation for a new kind of leadership, one rooted in practical innovation, public trust, and regional cooperation. If his model succeeds, Burkina Faso could become a blueprint for the continent. Ibrahim Traoré, a controversial leader. Captain Ibrahim Traoré has emerged as one of Africa's most intriguing and polarizing leaders. Born on March 14, 1988 in Kera, Burkina Faso, he trained as a Special Forces officer, Cobra unit, and climbed the military ranks before seizing power at just 34 during a coup on September 30, 2022. He ousted interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, citing his inability to quell jihadist insurgencies along Burkina Faso's northern and eastern borders. Following the takeover, Traoré consolidated his position swiftly. A coup attempt in September 2023 failed, bolstering his grip. He then extended the transition period. National consultations in May 2024 resulted in a 5-year mandate extension, with Traoré reserving the right to run in future elections. From the West's viewpoint, Traoré is a mixed proposition. European and US officials expressed concern over his authoritarian tendencies, press crackdowns, enforced military conscriptions, and ties to Russian mercenaries, including the Wagner-linked Bear Brigade. Meanwhile, analysts suspect Belarusian or Russian-backed propaganda fueling a cult of Sant Traoré to stoke anti-Western sentiment. Human rights watchdogs highlight ongoing violence and massive displacement. More than 60% of the country remains outside government control, with fatalities surging from about 2,900 to over 7,200 annually. Yet on the ground in much of Francophone Africa, Traoré commands genuine admiration. His stirring anti-colonial rhetoric, Africa doesn't need the World Bank, IMF, Europe, or America, and a pivot from France toward Russia and Turkey deeply resonate. Thousands rallied for him in June 2025 after US criticism of alleged corruption, full of anti-American sentiment and pro-Russian flags. Economically, Traoré has pursued a robust program of self-reliance. GDP reportedly rose from $18.8 billion to $22.1 billion within 2 years, driven by agricultural mechanization, more than 400 tractors distributed, food processing, tomato, cotton, shea, cashew, gold refinery plans, and bans on raw gold exports. External debt was cleared, about $4.7 billion, and state control expanded over core mining and agro-industries. Reddit users in West Africa confirm Burkina Faso's GDP grew from approximately $18.8 billion to $22.1 billion. He reduced the salaries of ministers, paid off local debts, established 2 tomato processing plants. Rice and millet production surged. Still, challenges persist. Regional instability, reports of rights abuses, and heavy dependence on security improvements before democratic restoration. While Traoré offers a form of radical Pan-Africanism and economic independence, Western critics warn that his longer-term cost, higher insecurity, democratic erosion, and authoritarian entrenchment may outweigh short-term gains. Paving the path to prosperity. Since assuming power, Captain Ibrahim Traoré has pursued an ambitious development agenda aimed at breaking Burkina Faso's dependency on foreign powers and raw material exports. While much attention has focused on the high-profile Dono Road project, several other initiatives are quietly reshaping the country's economic future, especially in mining and renewable energy. 3 of the most impactful are the gold residue processing plant in Kosovo, the national gold refinery, and 2 new solar power stations at Kodani and Pa. The first of these, inaugurated in January 2024, is Burkina Faso's gold mining residue processing plant, located in the Kosovo industrial zone near Ouagadougou. The facility, developed by Golden Hand SA in partnership with the state, is the first of its kind in the country. It extracts valuable metals from mining tailings that were previously discarded. Traoré described the plant as a symbol of innovation and sovereignty, emphasizing that Burkina Faso is only the 2nd African nation to implement this kind of technology. The plant not only enhances economic recovery but also creates local employment. 124 Burkinabe, including 70 women, were hired in its first phase. It represents a key step toward capturing more value from the country's abundant gold resources. Building on this momentum, Traoré's government launched the construction of Burkina Faso's first full-scale gold refinery in late 2023. Set to process 150 tons of gold annually to 99.9% purity, the refinery is a joint venture between the Burkinabe state and Mali's Morena Gold. Slated for completion within 11 months, the facility is expected to create 100 direct jobs and thousands of indirect ones. For Traoré, this project is about more than economics. It's a nationalistic pivot toward resource sovereignty.
Africa provides 30% of the world's gold production. Mali, Burkina Faso, gold flows like rivers from our lands.
We must know the real content of our raw gold, he declared, underscoring the need to end Burkina Faso's reliance on exporting unrefined minerals. Parallel to these mining advancements, Traoré is also steering the country toward energy independence through solar power. In December 2023, 2 major solar plants, Kodani, 38 megawatts, and Pa, 30 megawatts, were commissioned. The Kodani plant, located near Bobo Dioulasso, is expected to power over 115,000 households annually. The PAR project, developed through a Franco-Burkina Faso partnership, generates about 50 gigawatt-hours per year and was funded through a €35 million investment involving EAIF and Urbasolar. These additions significantly bolster Burkina Faso's renewable capacity and reflect Traoré's broader vision to electrify rural areas, reduce energy imports, and power industrial growth sustainably. Together, these three projects reflect a larger transformation underway in Burkina Faso, one focused on processing its own resources, retaining economic value, and investing in long-term infrastructure. While Traoré's administration has been criticized for democratic backsliding and authoritarian tendencies, these bold, state-driven projects have resonated with a population eager for self-reliance and tangible progress.